Hi, Steve. I'm in the old city. I'm in the Shum's living room. Chag Sameach. So definitely feel the war here. There are very, very few tourists, but we feel, nevertheless, we feel the Chag coming in. Baruch Hashem, it's pretty quiet today. And yeah, so here we go. So we're going to have a small class on Pesach. I want to thank Rebecca Siegel for encouraging me to do a makeup. Unfortunately, our Zoom was not working last Monday night, and we'll have a class on Pesach. So the class is basically a chant of all the great teachers and classes that I attended over the years. So it's Rebbe Sinesther Youngray, Zechron Lebracha, Rabbi Kersner, Zechron Lebracha, Rabbi Buchel, Rabbi Simon Jacobs, and Rabbi Geller, Rabbi Weinberg, Rabbi David Aaron, all mixed together in a chant with Steve Spice. Okay, so a year ago, a group of families who were previously very, very unaffiliated, they decided to start a Hebrew school in the Midwest. And they hired a teacher in New York. They flew him to the Midwest. And the first day of Hebrew school, he wanted to assess what the kids knew or didn't know about Judaism. So he asked the kids to give him a symbol of something Jewish. So one child said menorah, one child said a Jewish Torah, one child said a Talid, one child said a Kiddush cup, etc., etc. He came to the last child, and he said, David, give me a symbol of something Jewish. Mr. Finkelstein, this is the first day I ever heard this thing called Judaism. Think. So he said, okay, a scale. David, what's Jewish about a scale? Every morning my mom gets on the scale, she says, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Unfortunately, for many Jews, Pesach has been relegated to symbols of Pesach, matzahs, macaroons, etc., etc. And my kavanah, my intent, is to go a little bit deeper, that we go to the Seder tonight with some new ideas from these great teachers that I studied under. So it's very interesting that over a decade ago, maybe longer, the Council of Jewish Federations had a study. And the study showed that more American Jews, North American Jews, observed Pesach or went to Seders than they did go to Shul Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And that study had such a profound impact on many Jewish organizations, like the National Jewish Outreach Program, started Pesach Across America, which was donated by a very special Jew, Mr. Sam Doan. He should live and be well. But why is it Pesach plays such an amazing role in the life of Jews? The most secular Jews are totally not connected, but they'll go to a Seder. That might be not yet kosher, but they go to a Seder. So cynics will say it's a Jewish Thanksgiving, and I believe it's a lot more. I think it's a lot more, it's a lot deeper. That if a Jew doesn't understand Pesach, you really don't understand what we've been doing for the last 3,000 years. That Pesach is really the epicenter of our religion, our people, our culture, metaphysically, practically, in terms of observance, etc., etc. Why is that the case? So we have a holiday called Pesach because we left Egypt. 50 days after we left Egypt, we received the Torah that's connected to Egypt. The Jews leave Egypt, they receive the Torah, they mess up with the golden calf. Moshe goes up, he davens, he prays, he comes down. What day is that? Yom Kippur, the 10th day of Tishrei. That's connected to leaving Egypt. We have the holiday of Sukkot, right? Commemorating, celebrating the Ananei HaKavod, the clouds of glory over the little huts that we lived in. That's connected to leaving of Egypt. We have mezuzahs on our doors, on our homes, in our businesses. Why? Because we put blood on the door. That's connected to Pesach. Men, we put tefillin on. Why? Because of Hashem's outstretched arm, He took us out of Egypt. That's connected to Pesach. At Shabbat, we make Kiddush. Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim. Remember the leaving of Egypt. That's connected to Pesach. So people make fun of Jewish liberals. Where does that come from? Over and over and over again in the Torah. It says, remember that you were slaves in Egypt. Remember what it was like. Have empathy. Have care, concern for them, the dog. And again, you've heard me many times, no one gives more charity. No people do more for the world in every city, in every country that we live in. Where does that come from? Where's that DNA? Egypt. Remember the orphan. Remember the widow. Remember the underdog, etc., etc. That all comes from leaving Egypt. That's part of our kishkis, so to speak, our insights. Okay. So if we Googled the word freedom, okay, what would come up? right? What is the epicenter of Pesach? It's all about freedom. So it's interesting, in 1990, when the Jews left the former Soviet Union, our brothers and sisters, almost every federation in America had these huge fundraising campaigns, and the campaigns stated what? Let our people go, right? That's what Moshe says to Pharaoh, let our people go. But it didn't have the second part of the pasuk, which is let our people go for us to serve Hashem. We didn't leave Russia, Ukraine, Belarus for us to assimilate. Let my people come to America, come to Israel to live as Jews. So we have a funny statement. On one hand, we're slaves to Egypt, and now we're becoming servants to Hashem. So what's all that all about? So one of my great teachers, Rabbi Ephraim Buchwald, okay, to live and be well, changed my life. So he said that one of the things that we do in Judaism is that we concretize the abstract. We take very lofty spiritual ideas and we bring it down to the realm of physicality. What does that mean? It's not enough to say, well, I'm very charitable in my heart, write a check, put money into the pushka. Friday afternoon, I feel very, very spiritual, light candles. On Pesach, Seder, how do we concretize freedom? One of the ways we concretize freedom was we have 4 cups of wine. But why? Why 4? Why not 3? Why not 6? So there are 4 expressions in the Torah that Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, when he's going to take us out of Egypt. Number 1, he says, V'tzalti, okay? I will take you out. V'hotzesi, I'm sorry. V'hotzesi, I will take you out. Then he says, V'tzalti. Okay, I will save you. And then it says, V'go'alti, I will redeem you. And then it says, V'lakachti, I will take you as a people. I'm sorry, a little tired, jet lag. Okay, 4 different expressions, 4 different cups of wine, and that articulates this idea of freedom. Next, another idea of freedom. Everyone knows matzah. And this is where we leave Hebrew School 101, and this is where we leave maybe even day school. Everyone knows the reason we have matzah is because the Jews didn't have time to make bread. So that's very nice. So it said Rabbi Kalatsky, Yossi Kalatsky, one of my great teachers, he says, it's really telling us that we lacked amunah, we lacked faith, we lacked bitachon. Every plague took place over 1 week. There were 3 weeks of recovery. So 10 plagues was basically almost a year, 10 months. So why didn't the Jews prepare every time they had a plague that they're going to leave? They didn't know that Pharaoh was not going to acquiesce and let the Jews leave. So basically matzah is not only that we didn't have time to leave, but it's really showing that we didn't have emunah, we didn't have bitachon, we didn't have faith, that we were really going to leave this hellhole called Egypt. Okay, so what is this really teaching us? Is that a person could be so downtrodden by life, financially, socially, dating, medically, whatever it might be, and we don't believe our life's going to change. It says matzah, Yeshua Hashem Karafayan, with a blink of an eyelash. And this is the basic theme of Egypt. I hope everyone internalizes. The basic theme of Egypt, for me, anyway, as Yeshua Hashem Karafayan, with a blink of an eyelash, Hashem can change your life. You can be at the bottom, and life can change on a dime. You don't know. My rabbi passed away a couple of years ago, Rabbi David Sykes, would always say to me, past events is no indication of future results. Past events is no indication of future